There are others who secured international appointments after their services at the national level under my watch. Among such distinguished ones are Amina Mohammed, Babatunde Oshotime, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Obi Ezekwesili, and Akin Adesina, after he had initially been encouraged by me to serve at home. The point I'm making is that we have both at home and in the diaspora Nigerians who have attained world and best standard in their character, professions, attributes, performance, and reputation in all walks of life. With such men and women, why are we underperforming at home? Nigeria is a potential jewel of Africa, if you want to put it that way, but we have never attained that position. Can you reclaim what you have never had or attained? Here I have my first minor disagreement with Segun on this book. It is not in terms of the content, which I will come to later, but in terms of the title. Should it be reclaiming or claiming the jewel of Africa? If we have not reached there, which we have not, our first assignment is to reach there. Not long ago, I decided to have on record the experiences of some of Nigerian ambassadors from independence to date. One of the first sets of ambassadors, Ambassador Ogunsulure, during the interview, recollected that at the first meeting of the United Nations General Assembly, attended by Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa, for the admission of Nigeria as a member of the United Nations on October 7, 1960, Nigeria was referred to as giant in the sun. As at that time, the expectation of Africa and the rest of the world was for Nigeria to be a giant in the world. But over the past 63 years, we have not lived up to expectation. We have disappointed ourselves. We have disappointed Africa. We have disappointed the black race, and we have disappointed the world. What Segun has tried to identify, itemize, and recommend in this book is the way forward. But the beginning of charting a new course for ourselves is to admit our failure, because we have not always put the round peg in the round hole. We are carried along by ego and emotion of selfishness, and self-centeredness, ethnic and religious jingoism, with total lack of understanding of the world we live in and gross misunderstanding of what development entails and how to move fast and continuously on the trajectory of development. In these connections, let me identify two of the major issues which are interrelated on the factors for all-round development. These are peace and security, which we cannot achieve without justice, equity, and inclusive society. And telling ourselves the truth, we have not done well on this course in the recent past, in the last decade and a half. I will also point at the issue of education, where over 20 million children that should be in school are not in school. We do not need an oracle to tell us the consequences of that for tomorrow. the skill acquisition, empowerment, and employment of youth who seem to be ignored or not to be appreciated. We do not need to look far for the remote causes of banditry, Boko Haram, kidnapping, and other organized crimes. We are living dangerously on a keg of gunpowder, driving more people into poverty through good policies poorly and thoughtlessly implemented, or bad policies and no policy at all. Our population is made up of men and women almost on equal numbers. We have not given enough appropriate and adequate attention to all aspects of preparing women for all-round development programs for a community, a state, a nation, or even the continent of Africa and the whole world. If we fail to get all hands on deck, we will be diminished in all our instrument and capacity for development. Women have an important role to play on the development agenda. The other point, other than the title of the book, where I will again, in a small way, disagree with Segun in his book, is on the issue of leadership. Adequate emphasis is not placed on leadership as the crucial and critical defining and decisive factor in determining the shape, form, direction, speed, content, and trajectory of development for any human organization, and especially for a nation like Nigeria. If you ask most of our leaders why they want to be in the position they are craving for, you will weep for your nation over their level of emptiness as far as development issues are concerned. What do they understand for peace, security, stability, predictability, development, growth, and progress to be actualized? I believe that peace, security, democracy, and prosperity must be taken together. Any leader that fails to understand any of these and fails to bring them together to deliver good governance for the welfare and well-being of the people, all the people, cannot contribute anything significant for claiming Nigeria as a jewel of Africa, let alone the jewel of Africa. And definitely will be far from contributing to Nigeria being the giant in the sun. In addition, or complementary to the issue of leadership, is that of consistency and continuity of policies. We are never short of policies. And when you look into the archive, we have policies since independence that are still substantially relevant today. Policy is not much of our problem. Its implementation and sustainability are the problems. With almost every new administration in Nigeria, you will hear for the first time ever as if Nigeria is just created by them. There's no humility and understanding to know what have existed, how they have worked or not worked, what lessons to learn. Rather, it is usually a blanket condemnation, disapproval, or covering up of achievement of others in the past. We cannot